Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Florida. And today our question comes to us from the Harvestarian. And the Harvestarian has a question about sigil magic. And the Harvestarian talks about seeing very complex sigils in old grimoires. And Harvestarian's question is, why would a practicing magician use such complicated symbols? And what do they mean and what are they for? And Harvestarian reports being drawn to these symbols, and that they are taking this as a message from Spirit that they are meant to learn about them. And the idea of sigil magic, and for this conversation we will use the entire idea of using symbols to represent deities, spirits, and energies which can be summoned for magical purposes, and not worry about the exactitudes of the term. But this is a very widespread practice. You find it in European magic, you find it in African magic, you certainly find it in Mediterranean magic, and you find it in other parts of the world as well. It's the idea that the symbol represents, again, a god, a spirit, an energy, sometimes a process. It can represent many different things, but the idea is that the visual representation represents the spiritual reality and is used in invoking that reality to create a desired effect in the magic. And why are they so complex? Well, they aren't all. Actually, if you look at the different symbols, you'll see that some are actually very simple and others extraordinarily complex. And I would say the difference between these two things is partly fashion, partly personal taste, and partly purpose. The ones that are very complex, I believe the idea behind the complexity is that the longer it takes to create it, the more detailed the symbolism involved, the more the focus, the more the energy that is built into creating it. And in terms of creating and using it, the idea is that you're focusing on that energy, you're using this symbol to associate with that energy, which therefore helps you to invoke that energy. And sigils, by whatever name you want to call them, are used in many different contexts, many different backgrounds, but usually in these different ways. In the Karelian tradition, we use sigils, among other things, to represent our different groups and temples, and also to represent the higher self of our different Witan priesthood, and for that matter, any person could have their own personal sigil, which is also a vision symbol which represents their higher self, and is also in the same way as sigil magic is a key to the energy of their higher self. And a lot of the idea behind magic is the idea of using different keys to different energies. And that certainly is the idea involved in sigil magic, the idea that this design connects to this energy, and that you use the design to facilitate your own connection to the energy. And I would say that in using sigil magic, it's very important, in my opinion, not to be bound only by what others have done, but also to treat it as a living art, to continue to develop it and expand it in ways that make sense to you and have use for you. So don't only study those old sigils, and don't only study sigils from one part of the world, but see all that is there and then expand it. Consider it to be a good, strong grounding in the idea first, and then take the idea and go forward with it. That would be what I would recommend. And I hope you find my ideas helpful, and until next time, may you blessed be. So, last Friday I asked people to vote on what they considered the best question of the week, and indeed, people did vote. And I want to thank you if you voted for your favorite question, and I found it very fascinating. And the question that people preferred as being their favorite question of the week was Draconum Blade and the question about expecting Valhalla, how our expectations can be used to shape our afterlife, and how this could conceivably be done in a conscious manner. So thank you very much all who voted, and Draconum Blade will receive the beautiful rainbow fluorite necklace from Marianne K. and My Mystic Gems, and I want to thank Marianne K. for donating this beautiful piece. And I want to recommend that everyone go and look at My Mystic Gems and see the other beautiful work that Marianne does. She's highly gifted and she uses the most beautiful stones and other elements in her magical jewelry. So thank you everyone, and congratulations Draconum Blade, and at the end of this week I'll be asking people to vote again for their favorite question from this week. And until next time, may you blessed be. Pray for peace. Pray for love. Pray for stability. Pray for the nation where you live. Pray for the world. Reverend Don, super omnibus of incantations and invocations for all occasions. Marianne Kay and I created this massive compendium of magic and artwork for you to use in any way that you would like. There are literally hundreds of spells and hundreds of illustrations, which can be mixed and matched and used in many different ways. Check it out now at witchghoulstore.com.